In a couple hours from now, we have the next FOMC meeting, and the pressure on Powell to lower the interest rates are getting higher and higher. You also see that just now Trump says that stupid Powell probably won't cut rates. He's already asking for that for many months, and he's not breaking under the pressure. There was even a meeting between the two of them. And if we're then looking at the forecast, what we're seeing there is that pretty much 99.9% of all the participants is thinking that we will not see a rate cut in a couple hours from now. However, if we are looking to the next meeting, that will be on the 30th of July, you can see that already a small part of the participants is thinking that we see a rate cut. If you go further to September, then you see that actually a majority is already expecting a rate cut. What I am thinking is that this time we will not see a rate cut. However, they are going to probably indicate that maybe for the next meeting there will be a rate cut. So I'm expecting July, probably the earliest that we will see that. We can use this to our advantage. And of course, the reason why I think they are still waiting for this is everything has to do with the inflation. It looked very worrisome starting from September 2024 all the way to the beginning of 25. Inflation was rising again from 2.4 to 3%. Then it came down. Now we're kind of stabilizing. So it's going to be very important in the next couple readings. Do we still see that plus minus of 2.5% inflation? If that stays around that area, then I think we have enough reasons and feeding ground to eventually lower the interest rate, probably with a quarter basis point or half a basis point, to see how the market responds. And I think once that happens, we can see the market flying. Now, how can we use all of that to our advantage? If we're looking at Bitcoin, then we're still in this range. It's a little bit boring. We're right now looking at the 4-hour chart. This is for me still a no trading zone, and I'm hoping and I'm waiting for lower to long. The areas that I'm looking at are these boxes. Let me zoom in here because I want to make sure that it's clear for you to see. We are right now trading at approximately 104. You can see the trading range from the last couple of days has been 1.5–2%, nothing too crazy. What I actually want to see is a move lower to maybe sweep one of these lows, and then eventually to go higher. So maybe something like this on the announcement that they're not going to change the interest rate, but then on the meeting that's 30 minutes after, if he is then suddenly bullish to say, well, we're actually looking at cutting the rate maybe as soon as the next meeting, then I'm hoping we can see price moving higher. So the areas I'm looking at right now is this area right here that is sweeping this low and the value area low of the broader range, 102,500. Or if we break it all the way here to approximately 100,000, that's also of course big psychological number. That also coincides then with this low right here and the low that we hit here. I do not really care if we're really sweeping the low. Once we reach it, I see buyers stepping in, then I will enter a long. Let's say I am wrong on my thesis and we are going to break the range and we eventually are going lower. There is actually a bullish case for dumping lower, and that is the following. We have a small range here that's starting off from approximately 93 to, well, let's say 97. Let's say Powell says something that is not so bullish, then we have some bombs in Iran and Israel, and eventually you see price dumping down. I would like to see a V-shaped recovery. We cannot spend time in this small range, all right? It needs to be a V-shaped recovery, aiming for approximately 96, 97, and then right away go higher to find acceptance back into this macro range. So the move down and the move up preferably needs to happen within 2 or 3 days. So we can dump down eventually, maybe even backtest a value area low. Of course, usually it doesn't look as smooth, but eventually then you see something like this, and then price goes higher again, buyers are stepping in, and then within 2 or 3 days you're back into this range, and then we can just range here again until eternity. But if we are going lower, I do not want to see price spend a lot of time in this small range, 92 to approximately 97. If that happens and we do find acceptance within this range and we spend quite some time there, I actually think it's bearish and we're going even lower. The next range that I'm then looking at, and I'm not in this camp, I'm not saying this is going to happen. Matter of fact, I think the chances of this happening is very low. But if that happens, then eventually I think we're going to this lower range, and then I'm talking about approximately 88 to 75. Then also if that happens, I think ETH will sell off, and then also the altcoin market will sell off even further. So it's very important that we're getting a quick bounce from that 92 to 97-ish, and that we do not find acceptance, because of else it's going to look pretty bearish. For now, I'm still staying pretty cautious, not overly bullish, not overly bearish, but do not panic if we are starting to lose this range, because it could be a quick drop down and then just a V-shaped recovery up. Now I also still have some liquidity above. That is also something that I signaled yesterday in the Discord. By the way, if you want to join, it's completely for free. Check out the link in the description. And I said we'll have this very much engineered move to the downside. It looks very artificial, and this also just screams liquidity to me. So once we start moving up and we are starting to trade above these current highs that we made here, 105,500-ish, I actually think that we can get a very swift move up here back to the very area high, 107, 108. The only bummer would be is that let's say there's a big surprise. Powell is going to lower the interest rate with, let's say, a quarter basis point. That will catch the entire market off guard, because like I said, 99% of all the participants is expecting no rate cut. But let's say it happens, then we can just see a sudden quick move up. I will be without a long trade, but I'm not going to chase it, because like I said, this could be just a very quick squeeze up, and then before you know, we're back at 107, 108, and then of course we have to see how price reacts once we are back into this box. Matter of fact, it's actually a short area for me still until we leave this range. And then, yeah, of course, I'm then talking about this very high and the previous highs that we made. If we can close a daily candle above this high right here, that is 109,000, I think we're going for all-time highs, because actually there's just not much resistance left. We then have this triple high right here, which I also talked about yesterday. This could be a short, but actually I think it's not going to work out. So once we are closing a daily above here, I think that we are going to take out these highs right here, and eventually this all-time high, because also this high looks very weird to me. Doesn't look like a good high for now. Also on the TPO chart, this just looked weird. So I think once we are getting a quick squeeze up and we can hold, that's very important. We need to hold. Then I think we can see a move up to new all-time highs. If we cannot hold, this was just nothing more and less than short positions closing out, and then eventually we're losing it again, and then we're dumping down again, and then it was nothing more or less than just a range play from the lows to the highs, back to the lows, back to the highs, etc, etc. Alright, so the way we get there, and if we close above, that is very, very important. For now, I do not expect all too much from it. You can also see in the broader market, we're just going sideways. Stocks are not doing a whole lot, futures not doing a whole lot, altcoins are not doing a whole lot. Everyone is just now waiting for that FOMC, and mainly that explanation in the press conference that will happen 30 minutes after, because everyone is waiting for a signal of Powell to say, yes, we are looking to start cutting the interest rate as soon as maybe the next meeting or the meeting after. That is going to be super, super key, and that will most likely pump or dump the market, and I will also most likely be trading that. Guys, if you found this useful, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, click on the bell, click on all so you don't miss anything. Leave me a comment or share this video with your friends if you think this is useful. See you guys very, very soon again in the next one. Bye bye.